What up, motherfuckers? How y'all doing? Y'all doing okay, or y'all doing not okay? Are y'all being friends, or y'all being enemies? Good morning! How are we doing today? Today is the 5th of December. You know what's exciting about today? Something that no one here will give a shit about, but I will give a shit about. The Detroit Red Wings against the Buffalo Sabres game. I'm fucking excited. I got my shirt on, I'm excited, I'm happy. Got my Coca-Cola, excuse me, Coca-Cola. What's on my mind? You know what I'm not excited about? Oh, this writing day today. I don't even know what's gonna happen. I have no fucking idea. I feel like something. You know what I mean? I can feel like, oh man, something's about to happen. But I don't know what the fuck that is. As I'm like rereading, because if I remember last time I was like talking about like, yeah, it's gonna be an exposition scene. It's gonna be like a Council of Elrond kind of shit. I'm like rereading it so I can kind of get back in, which I never do that. I don't like to reread things. I like to no, we're just gonna go, you know, so it can kind of feel choppy like that in certain sections. If you read in the first book, you'll kind of, I don't know if you'll notice it, but I did do that. It's like I'll write, I'll stop, and I won't go, well, let's reread that, and then we'll go from there. Like, nope, we're just gonna new stream of consciousness. Let's write from here and let's go. So it can kind of break up the story in a sense of realism. Nothing's ever like, it feels like things get chopped. So when it comes to writing, I definitely do a lot of like, I don't even know what happened last time necessarily. We're just going to continue on, you know. Well, I'm reading in to get back into this because it gets ethereal and shit. It gets to be like very otherworldly, you know what I mean? Going into the belly of the beast kind of stuff. A trial, if you will. And so I'm like, well, let's kind of get back into that. And then we're presented with the fucking problem again. It's like, what's going on? What exactly is happening right now? And so, for me, I think the biggest struggle is definitely, what am I trying to say? You should probably leave. I want to say this real quick. I see like the algorithm of like, I think that's what it's called, I don't know, statistics of when people stop watching. It's about this time. So I'm like, good, get out of here. Get out of here, nobody wants you anyway. I gotta lull you into boringness before we get to the realness. That's how you get real people in your life. Little trick. But anyway, so I'm just kind of looking at the stories and the main story. Like I just always call it the fucking high story. I don't know. And that's what I gotta do. That's the kind of goal today. But before we start that, there was something I was thinking about. Something that I was definitely thinking about, and I wanted to kind of bring it up here. Trust. That seems like the big one. What is trust? The idea of it, like trusting in something. And like in multifaceted ways, not just like I trust my life with this person, or I trust that they're not lying to me. We're talking like even larger than that. One of my examples I wrote down here. Who can tell you the right way when you are faced by so much unknown? There's like so much ahead of you, and it's like, who can be the one outside of yourself? Because you gotta always trust self, but like, let's go outside of that. Who's the one that can help you find the right way when you're faced with so much unknown? You know, like, that's a question for you. It's like, when you look at life around you and you see you've lived a certain way, You've come to certain scenarios, you found things that keep you happy, you found things that, hey, I gotta avoid that. You're living your life day to day. But you're always quietly like yearning for something more. Whether that be like knowledge or love or some sort of facet of a relationship, talking to a person that's real, you know, you're yearning. Right? There's a quiet little yearning inside your daily little life that you have. You keep going to work, you keep doing this, keep doing that, but there's just this little bit of like, man, I just want to talk to someone real, or, you know, or I want to fucking get that thing finally, or whatever the fuck it is, right? And then you just have this moment where you think, and this can happen, man, like, maybe life isn't what I think it is. And that tiny little, just little tiny little thought just explodes. And then soon, everywhere you look, you almost start to question what is the point of anything. It's also vastly confusing that you yourself don't even know how to handle it anymore. And it can send you spiraling. And it's like finding peace in that is kind of your only goal. But in that too, there's such growth. Like that moment that happens right there, you flip the switch and you say, maybe I don't know what I think I know. Maybe life isn't this easy fucking faggy thing that we all agree to. Or maybe there's more to this understanding of like human interactions and fucking the idea of the human mind. Maybe there's more to it than buying the new iPad or game system or new fucking video games coming out, you know. Maybe there's more to things happening here. But what is it? Sometimes those thoughts can toss you. And it's very good because now you're learning. Now you're starting to become self. You're not becoming a part of the, oh, did you hear the new GTA's coming out? Oh, you know, like shit like that. You're not part of that mass consciousness that people want you to be controlled, right? If you're sitting in here, I can move you around any way I want, but if you're away from that, and I can't do anything about that. Oh, I can't control them now. I got to bring them back. So it's growth. It's fine. That's not the point. My point is, when you feel those ways, when you feel that sense of time happening to you, how do you know people around you, family, friends, acquaintances, work peoples, and whatever your fucking life is, how do you know who you can trust? In that, how do you even know what trust is? How do you define trust? Someone that doesn't betray you? Is it purely that simple? If you were to like boil it down, like what is trust to you? Trust is someone that I can count on, right? Like something like that, like betrayals, right? So what marks that? Is that a hard, rigid line, or is it lenient? Is every single person that you trust have a different form of trust, or is it always the same? Can you be more lenient with this person betraying you than that one? A lot of things like that seem to be the question to this little thing we're fucking doing here today. But even more interesting than that, what about the people around us that touch our lives but in an unknowing way? Hold on. What if, think of it like this. So the people that touch our lives but aren't in it in a sense. They are, but they're not. We're talking about people like scientists, psychologists, philosophers, poets, actors, writers, I don't know, whatever like you enjoy, you know, content creators or some fucking shit like that. People that play video games on streams and stuff, like, it's kind of fucked up. It's getting to that point, but you know what I mean? Like, those kind of elevated people. How do you know who to trust when it comes to that? You enjoy, I don't know, a certain YouTuber. And this certain YouTuber does tutorials makeup tutorials. They play video games. They deconstruct fucking mechanical things and show you how it works. Whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? Like something. And then sometimes they speak in an opinion. And you kind of go, You are allowing yourself to be like that person has kind of melted a part of you away. So whatever they say, you're like, that's correct. It's a kind of form of, it's fucked up. This is kind of scary, right? Because I'm doing something of that. Like, if someone hears this, what I'm saying, and they're like, you know what I mean? Like, that kind of creeps me out a little bit. I hope that it doesn't. My idea is to make people question. I would be okay with the idea of people being like, you're fucking crazy, and this is what I think. Because that's the point. What if that kind of trust? I trust that this is true by this fucking person. Or even that thing I said with like scientists. They claim this, they claim that. Historians claim this, they claim that. The fucking whatever other types of ologists there are, you know what I mean? They all have something that is always pertaining to the truth. Like, no, this is the truth. We're trying to figure out truth. And that's what all they are doing. Is trying to give it to you, and you trust in them. Like, I trust them. I trust my president. I trust my city council. I trust my teachers, you know. There's a lot of things that we can have that trust in, and it's multifaceted. And each individual idea of what that trust can be is dependent on each person that we place it in. You trust your mother a lot different than you trust your fucking favorite celebrity. You know what I mean? But when it comes down to what trust is, can you even like claim to know what it means? Besides the stereotypes or the like, oh, trust is, like I said, just not being betrayed in a sense. You know, like however you would fucking say that, like, I don't know. It just, to me, I think that that can be a very interesting thing to ponder about. Because what makes this difficult, what makes this tough or whatever, in my mind would be, okay, and when it comes to terms of trust, who is wanting to truly, like, guide you? And you could even think of guiding like in a mentor kind of way, like a parent, a mentor, or a trusted person like that. Or who wants to guide you in a very kind of fucked up way, like things on the TV or like certain like sociological, how would you say that? Certain elements of like contorted spiritual elements or twisted versions of like, I don't know, just look at the news now. Who's trying to guide you? Who's trying to gain your trust? Who wants to talk to you? Who wants to communicate with you? And in a sense of something outside of yourself. Because when you look at the world and you see groups of people doing things, whether that's like people marching for fucking tolerance or something, or people fucking banding together for with the supposed claim to cease racism or some shit, or I don't know, man, whatever it is, turn the TV on, watch it for a little bit, come back and say this is what it is. Same fucking thing. There's groups of people that are doing something, and it's always been happening. Always. The Boston Tea Party, that's another one. Always been happening. You're not a part of it. How do they gain your trust? How do they get you to come to them? Well, they have to lie to you, don't they? And that trust can be easily obtained through lies. I mean, you can see it in that kind of fucked up nature where we think about like this malevolent, evil thing that's in groups of people that's controlling them and making them do bad things, all the way to the smallest version of a toxic relationship. You're with an abusive person, physically, mentally, you know, emotionally. how do they keep gaining your trust again? Why aren't you leaving them? So in that sense, like, what is trust to something of a darker element? And how can that trust be manipulated so that you are doing what said person wants you to do? It's very much the same as the mentor, but it's like it's the opposite end of the spectrum. Whereas a mentor is trying to gain your trust to guide you out of what they deem is right for you. And then the opposite side of that is clear. It's like the darker person, the bad relationship, the malevolent person doing whatever the fuck they're doing. They're doing the same thing, just in reverse. So instead of doing what's right for you, it's what's right for them. And it's not even evil necessarily. It's just like, it's a human thing. Like, if you really sat down and thought about, like, well, like, is doing what's right for yourself through another evil? Like, I don't know. It depends on how you define evil. That's kind of the main point of that. Like, well, then, is it evil though? That's up to you. It's like, I can't answer that. But my point is, the mentor, and we'll just say the devil, just to use as like a metaphor, but that could be anything bad. From like people trying to make you feel bad about who you are, all the way to like bad fucking spouses, all the way to toxic bosses, that kind of shit. We'll call that the kind of the devil in them. And you got the mentor, and they're both trying to gain your trust. And it's like, you sit there in your life and you say, how do I know who's trying to help me? And how do I know who's trying to hinder me or hurt me? So who is really, in your mind, who is truly trying to guide you? And what that to me comes to is self. And we'll stay in topic. How do you trust yourself? How do you trust that you know what's right for yourself? Because you don't always. You think you might, but you don't. And that's not a bash. That's not saying like, I sitting here do and you don't. It's we all don't at times know what's right for us. We don't know how to trust ourselves. We don't know how to listen to that voice within us that knows the true answer. We're like, I don't know about that. Don't listen to your heart. Always listen to your like that kind of stupid shit. We always do it. So how do you, when you're faced with dangers and you're faced with confusion, how do you know who to trust? How do you even know how to trust yourself? That right there, that's book one. My book one, excuse me. The Forgotten, what did I call it? I don't remember. The Forgotten Sacrifice, I think? That's the main hero's story. How do you know who to trust? How do you know who to trust? How can you trust yourself when you don't even know who you are? Surprise, surprise, book 2 is about finding self, right? Plain and simple, diving inward. The reason that I have this exposition part is to dive inward. What is inside? What is the high story? What is your story? Remember when I posed the question, maybe, if you watch these videos, I said, how do you know what the plot of your life is? If someone asks you, like, okay, what, if you, video game terms too, what is your main quest? What is your main objective? What is the plot of your story? What is your hero's journey? What's the story arc of your life? I feel like a lot of people couldn't really name that. Why is that? I think that's mostly because we don't explore self enough. I do feel in my life I could answer that question. Why? Because I'm working on it, and I'm doing it through a novel. So mine's easy. Finish book 1, finish book 2, finish book 3, because inside of that is, as the author, as the human being that's writing it, is the hero's journey there. Finding who I am through my books. When it comes to learning to trust, because my hero in the stories has a whole litany of people that are trying to gain his trust. that want him in some way, shape, or form, that need him for their own gains, whether it's for him truly or for them. The devil and the mentor kind of thing. Which one wants the right thing for me? At the end of the day, like any great hero's journey, you have to break apart from that. In the positive case, you have to break away from the mentor, the person that wanted right for you all along. And now it is your decision of what you might do. You found out who you are, so you know the mentor did his job. If the mentor tried to guide you in finding yourself, which is all mentors should do. Not telling you what you should do, but telling you how to find it for you. And the idea of that point is, you can begin to trust yourself and the judgments that you can make in the life around you. And pretty soon, all these people trying to gain your trust for ill intent are easy to spot. Pretty soon, the people trying to gain your trust in a positive manner also become illuminated. You know what I mean? Everything starts to shine. Everything starts to make more sense because you understand you more. You understand what is behind the thing that looks out into the world. The thing that determines what you're seeing. Interpreting, interpreting, did I say that? Yeah, interpretation. From that point, you can begin your journey. But I wanted to pose this question because it's a major, major theme in my writing. Trusting self. How to trust others. How does someone know what's right or wrong for you? And how do you spot that? That's like one of the major fucking themes in my book. So the reason I wanted to bring that up is just because it's coming up in a sense, and more of like a hard line. Someone's going to question the hero, and he's finally going to what do you fucking think? This whole time, everyone's been telling you what to do, why you're important, why you need to do this, and you're like that. It's all you, and for the first time, someone's like, what the fuck do you think is going on right now? And he's gonna and then we get to learn, and I, along with you, I get to fucking learn who he is. In that moment, at least. In that fucking moment. Months and months, probably at least 3 months after everything fell apart in his life. And he's been swept up and thrown into this fucking horrific fucking sea that's churning and churning and churning. It's settling down. He found a small little island. And that island asks him, who the fuck are you? I mean, that can be a very scary thought. And I completely understand the fear in answering that question. It would be very terrifying. But determining that, it comes from questioning self. It comes from understanding how to trust yourself. Because once you do that, the trusting other people get a lot easier. You can spot them pretty easy. The bad people. And maybe not bad for evil's sake, but bad by misguided sake, which is most of how the darkness works. You're just misguided. Think of the people that are incredibly hateful in the world and spreading their hate on both sides of the equation. I don't want people to get twisted, only people that don't like blacks. No, all of it. All of them. They're all just misguided. They're all sad, scared people that are taking it out because it makes them feel stronger. They're not evil. They're just misguided. And you are swimming in a storm of misguided people. The hurtful, spiteful ex that's fucking manipulating you isn't an evil fucking person. You damn well know that there's something inside of them that's fucking sad. That's crying. But they don't know how to handle it. And you're only a small glimmer on what makes them feel like a little bit better. And they just want to crush it. You know what I mean? They don't deserve that in their minds. They don't deserve to be healed, to walk away from that. The victim mentality stuff. We've talked about that. But my biggest thing I wanted to bring out is learning to understand the idea of trust. And I think that's something you should ask yourself a lot more often. How do I know who to trust? I think it'll kind of enlighten something, and that from that moment, it'll help become clear the life you're living. You'll start to see shit kind of form together a little bit more. You'll see the darker elements that you need to get out of your life. You'll see the good things that you need to really amplify. You'll begin to see who you really are and what you're really doing inside of that. And for the first time, you'll be able to look at yourself and know who you're looking at. It's crazy to me to think like you live a life, not you specifically, but people will live their lives and not even know who they are. Not ever once question, like, who am I? Isn't that odd? To like, you're in this body, you might as well fucking learn about it. You know? You get a new car, you're not just like, I don't know, I fucking don't know, I'm just in it and I do things. Like, no, you kind of probably should look into it a little bit more. You should locate all the controls, you should at least get under the engine and just kind of get an understanding of it. Look at the tires on it. Like, just, you know what I mean? Like, it's yours. You might as well know some things about it. You don't gotta be the fucking engineer. But you should damn well be someone that can do basic maintenance on your vehicle. Same with your body. Just do some basic maintenance, man, like, of your mind. That's probably a good idea. You start to learn so much. You start to learn, like, wow, I'm getting sick all the time because I'm mentally stressing myself out and I'm weakening my immune system. Huh. Now I'm not sick as much because I'm learning, you know, like that kind of shit. Or, wow, I learned that I'm bothered by these things because I realize that they remind me of that. So now I don't do it and I feel better. Like, you know what I mean? Like, look how much better you can make your life just by learning who the fuck you are. And it's very difficult, but at the same time, it's one of the easiest things. That journey doesn't necessarily begin with this, but in a roundabout way, in its beginning, is the idea of trust. And first of all, what the fuck is it? And second, how can you? And third, can you trust yourself? In that order. You figure that out, you unravel it, give yourself a few fucking hours and sitting down and thinking about this shit, you'll be so shocked as to what you might find if you've never done it before. So that's that. Now, I have to get back to writing, or at least trying to. We'll see how much I get done today. And by tomorrow, the 6th of, what is that month called? What month am I in? December. I'll give you an update on where we're at. And that's that.